Under Unlock 1, states and union territories open religious places, malls, restaurants, hotels and offices from today. Goa decides to keep religious places closed for now. Bhopal administration also defers opening of religious places. Union Home Minister Amit Shah connects with people in Bihar through virtual rally from BJP headquarters in Delhi. Lord's leadership of Bihar's CM Nitish Kumar gives account of implementation of centre's package for Bihar of 1,25,000 crore rupees, assures that the second term of the Modi government at the centre is fully committed to development. Delhi government announces guidelines for Unlock 1. State government hospitals will be reserved for people of Delhi only, while central government hospitals in Delhi will remain open for all private hospitals except those where special surgeries like neurosurgery are performed, also reserved for Delhi residents. Delhi's borders to be opened from today. Active cases of COVID-19 rise in India to 1,20,406, 1,19,292 people cured and discharged. Recovery rate stands at 48.37%. Over 69,81,000 people worldwide infected by coronavirus. Deaths surpass 4 lakhs. US tops the list with over 19 lakh people infected. Brazil comes in at number 2 with over 6,72,000 patients. Government's game changer scheme, direct benefit transfer, sets new record of total transparency. Since 2014, over 11 lakh crore rupees sent directly to bank accounts of common people. About 1,75,000 crore rupees saved till January 2020 by DBT. WMO hails IMD for accurate prediction of genesis, track, intensity, landfall point and time of cyclone Amphan. Says IMD showcase excellent lesson and best practices in tropical cyclone forecasting and warning services and response actions leading to sufficient preparedness for mitigation of losses and damages. Major success for security forces. 5 terrorists eliminated in encounter at Riban area of Shopia in Jammu and Kashmir. Incriminating materials including arms and ammunition recovered from slain terrorists. Hello and welcome to this edition of the news. I'm Rukma in our top story. With phase 1 of Unlock 1 set to roll out from today, religious places are set to reopen in most states, as are hotels, restaurants and malls. But schools will not open just yet. Also, international air travel, metro rail and cinema halls, as well as large gatherings, will only be allowed in later phases.
The nation is in Unlock 1.0 mode, and from Monday, 8th of June, restaurants, hotels, shopping malls and places of worship are also being reopened. In several states, places of worship like temples, mosques, gurdwaras and churches will also reopen after remaining closed for over 2 months. But this time, people will have to take preventive measures suggested by the government to contain the spread of novel coronavirus. At places of worship, it is mandatory to take off sandals and shoes before entering. It has been suggested not to distribute prasad or holy water. Social distancing norms to be followed in organizing langars or community kitchen. Special focus should be on sanitization within the campus. Devotees and management of places of worship both will have to follow all these norms.
कई जिलाधिकारियों ने अपने जनपद में जहां भी धार्मिक स्थल हैं वहां के प्रबंधन से संपर्क स्थापित कर लिया है और सबका प्रयास है कि गाइडलाइंस के अनुरूप कार्य हो और उसी के अनुरूप जो है अनुमति दी जाए।
हर प्रवेश द्वार पर जो है सैनिटाइजिंग की व्यवस्था होनी चाहिए, तो हमने यहाँ सैनिटाइजिंग टनल लगाई है। उसके अलावा हाथ धोने के लिए जो सैनिटाइजिंग डिस्पेंसर भी लगा रहे हैं और मंदिर के अंदर प्रवेश करने के लिए एक उचित दूरी बनाने के लिए हमने मार्किंग भी की है। मंदिर के अंदर फूल प्रसाद नहीं चढ़ेगा।
Some states have decided not to reopen places of worship. Temple, churches and mosques in Goa have decided to remain closed for some more time, even though the state government has allowed reopening of religious places from Monday as part of the lockdown relaxations. In Rajasthan, the government has left the decision of opening places of worship to a committee headed by the district collector. In Kerala, a thermal scanner will be installed at Nilakal, Pampa and Sannidhanam temple complexes.
We are strictly implementing the guidelines issued by them. We are going to introduce a virtual queue system. The total duration in the morning is 8:15 to 11:15, and in the evening from 4 to 5.
Though the Kerala government has allowed places of worship to reopen from June 9, major mosques across the state have decided not to open their gates to worshippers for the time being. The Palayam Jama Masjid in the state capital was among the prominent mosques that decided against reopening next week. In Madhya Pradesh, the Bhopal administration has announced that religious places will not be open for now. The decision to open them will be taken next week after a review.
भोपाल के सभी धर्मगुरुओं के द्वारा ये फीडबैक किया गया है कि अभी वो पूरी तरह से इसको खोलने में थोड़ा सा एक हिचकिचाहट है, वो तैयारी के लिए थोड़ा सा समय चाहते हैं। तो हम लोगों ने ये तय किया है कि कल से धार्मिक स्थल भोपाल में अभी नहीं खुलेंगे, एक रिव्यू और होगा इसका, उनके साथ बैठक होगी, बात होगी और पूरे कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ इसको अगले सप्ताह से खोला जाएगा।
Meanwhile, preparations are going on at the places of worship as per the guidelines of the government. Cleanliness drive is at full swing in various temples of the country. Mosques are also being cleaned as per government guidelines. Sanitizers, tissue papers, screening machines and other necessary equipment are being made available in the mosques. And posters of following social distancing norms are also being pasted at the gates. Preparations for reopening have been almost completed in most churches. Benches used by devotees have also been cleaned. Clearly, all precautions have been stipulated for a safe and orderly unlocking of all activities in the first phase. People need to follow them sincerely for their own health and well-being. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And here's a look at how states are preparing for reopening of restaurants, hotels and shopping malls.
Restaurants, hotels, shopping malls are all set to open up beginning Monday. In its guidelines, the central government has mandated that restaurants, hotels and shopping malls will have to ensure social distancing with face masks mandatory for gaining entrance. Sanitizer dispenser and thermal screening are mandatory at the entry gate. Use of Arogya Setu app has been suggested. There should be separate entry and exit gates. Following CPWD directions is necessary for air conditioning. Limited number of people will be allowed in the lift. Proper crowd management in parking lots and outside the premises, duly following social distancing norms, shall be ensured. Valet parking, if available, shall be operational with operating staff wearing face covers or masks and gloves as appropriate. A proper disinfection of steering, door handles, keys, etc. of the vehicles should be taken up, and of course, social distancing is to be followed at all times. Talking of malls across the country, cinema halls, gaming arcades and children play areas in these establishments will remain closed. Staggering of visitors is to be done if possible. Mall management needs to ensure adequate manpower is deployed to ensure social distancing norms. Specific markings may be made with sufficient distance to manage the queue and ensure social distancing in the premises. Preferably, separate entry and exits for visitors, workers and goods or supplies shall be organized. The staff for home deliveries shall be screened thermally by the shopping mall authorities prior to allowing home deliveries. Proper queue management and disinfection shall be organized. Maintaining physical distancing of a minimum of 6 feet when queuing up for entry and inside the shopping mall is advisable. Number of customers inside the shop to be kept at a minimum so as to maintain physical distancing norms. Use of escalators with one person on alternate steps may be encouraged.
We've got the MHA rulings. We will abide by it strictly. Further, if we get the local advisory, which could be stricter than the MHA guideline also, we will abide by that to the T. And then analyze how many people can be there inside the property, including employees, including retailer staff. And then ensure that that's the count that will be maintained.
Under Unlock 1.0, hotels and restaurants are also being reopened from the 8th of June. Government guidelines issued for hotels and restaurants mandate that for guests it is necessary to give details of travel history and fill a self-declaration form while signing in at hotels. Extra precautions are needed for senior citizens and pregnant women. Sanitizing luggage is essential. Social distancing norms are mandatory while sitting in restaurants. Disposable menu has been suggested. Taking order without coming into contact with customers and use of digital payments have been suggested. Cleaning campus, rooms and toilets is essential. Thermal screening is mandatory for home delivery staff. The onus of ensuring the number of COVID-19 cases does not surge with Lockdown 1.0 kicking in lies equally with patrons of hotels, malls and restaurants as it does with the management of these places and the local administration. The key is to follow and implement all guidelines as far as possible. News Night Desk, DD India.
And for more updates, our correspondent Aisha Khanam joins us from Bangalore. Aisha, well, a very good morning to you. It's the beginning of the first phase of easing of countrywide lockdown. Religious sites, malls, hotels and restaurants all set to open. A lot of guidelines being issued. Some states like Goa, for example, have decided against opening places of worship for now. What about Bangalore and in fact the rest of the south? Give us an overall, roundup of how the states are preparing.
Well, good morning, Rukma. Now, South also is preparing for a new normal from today because this is unlock one. This is the first phase of unlocking the lockdown, and also the fact that entire South India is looking forward to the new normal. The standard operating procedures will be the new normal for the entire country now. So hence, at least in Bangalore, all the restaurants, all the malls and the places of worship will open today, because remember, Bangalore is, Karnataka is a state which has managed so far to control the spread of COVID-19 in the state, and so far there are only 5,000 cases as compared to the other states like Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra or Delhi. Therefore, Bangalore is now taking all precautions to get back to the mainstream and also follow the new norms. And behind me, you can see the mall here is getting ready for the operations from today. And this mall is now opening from 12 noon. And also they have set new procedures, new guidelines for people to come in, and it will be a totally new shopping experience for the people. And also in other places across the city, all the malls have set the new procedures, new guidelines. But the fact that though the malls are opening, there is still some hitches for the for the store owners inside the mall, because most of the people working in these shops have gone back to their hometown. So it will take some time for them to normalize the business that they are looking forward to, and it will take some time for them to settle down to the things that were before. But in Bangalore, the religious places have decided to open, and there are timings. In certain temples there are 7 to 2 p.m., certain temples there are 8 to 2 p.m. And on the other hand, all the restaurants will open, and this is very interesting that many restaurants are following very interesting procedures. They are using technology, and this technology is being used for contactless menu and entry into the restaurant, and also how you conduct yourself when you enter the restaurant. Some restaurants have made their seating arrangements in a different way, and these restaurants will have only 50% of the seating capacity. So all these things have changed. So it will be a new normal for these people when they step out today. However, the malls seem to be very optimistic about the fact that they will resume business from today, but it looks it doesn't look very predictable to see that people flocking the mall as soon as it opens, because people now are aware of the fact, they are aware of the health safety measures. They are aware that if they have have to stay safe from corona, they have to take care by themselves. So therefore, it may not be the usual footfalls that we see in the malls. So it will take some time till these things stabilize, and the health safety measures that have been advised to these malls, to the religious places and to the restaurant will be followed. There are markings for social distancing, masks is mandatory, and people will have to agree for thermal screening of the temperature and also sanitizers. So all these procedures are in place, and this will be a new normal. This is perhaps a new dawn for the people after they have seen the lockdown, and people now know that if they have to fight corona, they have to abide by the guidelines. So these guidelines are strictly being followed by people. As I said, the awareness level is high among the people, and all is set to resume at the malls in Bangalore and across South India.
Right, Aisha, well, stay with us. We are now joined by our Delhi correspondent from the ground for the latest news. Meghna joins us there. Meghna, good morning to you as well. And we were just talking with Aisha, and she told us how Bengaluru, in fact, most cities in the south are all set to begin life in the new normal. As you know, religious sites, malls, hotels and restaurants are set to open after nearly 2 months. What can you tell us about New Delhi as cases continue to spiral, and there are news reports, you know, of how the hospitals are really not being able to manage, you know, how is the city set to roll from today?
So obviously, Rukma, as you said, the unlock begins from today, rolls out from today, and the malls are all set to open. I'm right outside one mall, one such mall in Delhi, and to tell you, there are about 80 to 100 shopping malls, big to small shopping malls here in Delhi, and there have been sanitization protocols followed since the last few days. The staff had also been given adequate training to handle the crowd, to do their thermal screening, to ensure that the crowd has safe, the masks on, and nobody is allowed inside the shopping mall without a mask. Also, the staff which actually checks the thermal, does the thermal screening, has also been trained to how to don and doff the PPE kits. The PPEs are given to them, so they have been also taught to, you know, don it and doff it. Also, the parking area has been ensured that there is not much overcrowding in the parking area. And when one enters the shopping mall, we generally know that shopping malls have a number of entry and exits. So it has been ensured that only one entry point and one exit point is available, so that you know, the number of people entering and going out of the shopping mall can be checked and regulated as well, because staggered entry has to be ensured. There has been automatically sanitizer dispensers that have been kept at several places in the mall, the common areas of the mall. Also, the handrails have to be, there have been instructions to the mall staff from the mall management that the common areas have to be sanitized in an hour or in a couple of hours. They have to be constantly sanitized. Also, Rukma, the most important thing is digital payment is being ensured, that being encouraged. Also, the number of people getting into the elevator, there are minimum number of people that have been decided to, you know, let into the elevator. Also, the escalators have got cross markings on them, so that there is the social distancing protocol being followed. Game arcades are obviously not open. Cinema halls inside the malls are obviously not open, but social distancing protocols have to be maintained. Not only the mall management is maintaining these protocols, but inside the shops, the retailers and the vendors who are there, they are also ensuring that their staff has proper sanitization. Also, the staff who are on high risk have been ensured that they do not actually come in contact. They are not in the front line of coming in contact with the customers. So they are not actually being given the frontline work. So they have been given other work as compared, because they are at the high risk as well. So all these things have been ensured. Also, very important thing is that the CPWD guidelines have to be followed for air conditioning, for ventilation, for humidity. So air conditioning guidelines about 24 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, and the relative relative humidity has to be between 40 to 70 degrees Celsius. So all these protocols are being followed to ensure that there is a smooth functioning in the mall, and preventive precautionary measures are obviously being taken. So, and especially when it comes to restaurants, deliveries and all these things, the delivery staff has to be thermally checked, all the screening is done. Also today the staff has been called a couple of hours early so that they are completely prepared and all their thermal checks and everything is being done. So the mall management is obviously, the retailers and the shops are now open for business with taking all the precautionary measures. There are people above 65 years, the elders are not allowed inside the mall, less than 10 years children are not allowed, and also pregnant women are advisable to stay at home and not come to the shopping malls and go to the retail shops. So all these things are being followed, but obviously the onus is also on the people to actually ensure that there is social distancing that they maintain, and sanitization, proper sanitization that they maintain.
Right. Right, Meghna. Well, thank you so much for those details. Now we are joined by our correspondent, Kamal Bora from Guwahati for the latest information on how, the city is preparing as malls and as shopping malls and restaurants, hotels, in fact, places of worship are set to open. What details can you give us, Kamal?
Yes, Rukma, this is a very important day for the whole country, and Assam is not exception to that. Definitely the restaurants, the shopping malls and various other establishments are going to be open from today. That's why it's a very important day. But I would like to talk about the religious places. It's a very important thing for the whole country. Right now, since I'm in Guwahati, and Guwahati city known as a temple city because various temples are there, and temples are opening except Kamakhya temple. Other temples are opening, and right now I'm at Ugratara temple. This is next to the Kamakhya temple. This is a Shakti temple, and this is also opening here in Guwahati. So let's know from the Doloi, who is the main pujari here at this temple. Let's know what sort of preparation they have been doing to welcome the devotees from today. What sort of precautionary measures they have taken. How they are going to implement the guidelines of state government to welcome the devotees. So आपसे मैं जानने की कोशिश करूँगा आज ही टेम्पल यहाँ पे आज खोला जाएगा, तो किस तरीके से आप लोग ने प्रिपरेशन किया है, देवोतीज को किस तरीके से आप लोग वेलकम करेंगे?
देखिए, आज कोविड-19 के लिए प्राय 75 दिन हम लोग का मंदिर बंद था। अभी सरकार ने इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया है, आज 8 तारीख है जून महीने का। आज हम लोग का मंदिर जो है सफाई धुलाई किया, और जो हम लोग का मंदिर बंद है वो मंदिर आज खोल दिया। और सरकार ने जो इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया है सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग के लिए और हाथ धुलाई के लिए जो बोला है, हम लोग वो चीज़ हम लोग कर लिया। आप लोग देखा है अभी वहाँ में हम लोग का जो सिक्योरिटी है होमगार्ड को वहाँ में हम लोग बैठा करके दिया है। वहाँ में एक तो वही दिया है, वहाँ में वही जो भक्तगण आएगा मंदिर में, उन लोग का ठिकाना, एड्रेस और फोन नंबर वहाँ में एंट्री करेगा और बाद में उन लोग मंदिर में घुसेगा।
मतलब जो 1 घंटे में 20 लोगों को अंदर आने का जो सरकार की इंस्ट्रक्शन है, उसको किस तरीके से इम्प्लीमेंट करें?
हाँ, देखिए सरकार तो बोला है जो 20 आदमी को एक साथ घुसाने के लिए। देखिए आज तो पहली बार खुला है, अभी तक तो 2-1 जन आदमी आया है भक्तों, गतिके हम लोग देख लेंगे। हाँ, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन करके हम लोग वो काम करेंगे।
Right, Kamal, we are running short of time, but very interesting there, and we'll just have to see as all preparations clearly are in place. Everybody, whether it's temple authorities, whether it's the local administration, and the people too, fully prepared, for Unlock 1 in every way, or with all precautions in place. And now moving on. The World Meteorological Organization has lauded the India Met Department for its accurate prediction of cyclone Amphan. In a letter, the WMO Secretary General E. Manenkova said the cyclone advisories were provided to the WMO, and in particular Bangladesh, which was also affected. by the storm. In a letter, WMO also said that the accurate prediction of the genesis, track, intensity, landfall point and time, as well as associated weather like storm surge, rainfall and wind by IMD RSMC New Delhi with a lead period of more than 3 days has immensely helped in their early response and actions. The letter added that the services provided by the IMD have been showcased as an excellent lesson and best practices in tropical cyclone forecasting and warning services and response actions, leading to sufficient preparedness for mitigation of losses and damages. The letter also mentioned that the WMO Secretary General used the information from the bulletins to communicate with the UN Secretary General about Amphan. Those bulletins were also well utilized by the WMO officer in New York to daily brief the relevant entities of the UN at its headquarters on the status and potential impact of cyclone Amphan. The WMO is part of the United Nations. Modi government's game changer scheme, direct benefit transfer, has set a new record of total transparency. Since 2014, over 11 lakh crore rupees has been sent directly to the bank accounts of common people through DBT. With the elimination of middlemen and ensuring no chances of corruption, money is now directly reaching the poor and beneficiaries. Presently, 426 schemes of 56 ministries fall under the bracket of DBT. According to the government portal of DBT, 11,14,000 crore rupees has been directly deposited into the bank accounts till June 7, that is yesterday. Not only this, there has also been a saving of about 1.75 lakh crore rupees till January 2020, which earlier used to fall into the pockets of middlemen or brokers. DBT scheme is also proving highly beneficial for ensuring help to the poor during the COVID crisis. Using this system of digital payment, more than 42 crore poor people have been helped. According to the government, financial assistance of 53,248 crore rupees has been provided directly under the Prime Minister's Garib Kalyan package till June 2nd, for which DBT scheme played a pivotal role. And well, that's all we have for you in this edition of the news. News and updates continue on DD News and DD India. Namaskar.